I would say my most significant case would be a migraine case who had migraine for 35 years.
What types of foods should people with migraine avoid? Is a bowl of dal enough protein for my lunch?
That is one reason why I would recommend that you should always have a lot of fiber. I'm not taking any kind of fat. But that is very, very important for you because your vitamin A, D, E, and K, they are fat soluble vitamins. And they are very, very important for you, for your hormonal health, for your skin, for your hair, for your gut, for immunity. This is no rocket science.
I've heard migraine has no real cure. Is that true or just a myth? Your no carb diet is not recommended for a migraine.
Not at all. Somebody who's taking 20 to 30 painkillers in a month cannot expect to get better on day one of Ayurvedic treatment.
Yeah.
It is a journey.
Are there any home remedies or natural oils in Ayurveda that give quick relief from migraine? नमस्ते शिखा जी।
नमस्ते देवांगी जी।
हमारे लास्ट कॉन्वर्सेशन के बाद काफ़ी अच्छा रिस्पॉन्स मिला हमें इन कमेंट्स ऑन इंस्टाग्राम ऑन फेसबुक एवरीवन एक्चुअली केम आउट विद देयर stigma around migraine and also we have some questions from our audience जिससे मुझे लगता है कि definitely अगर उनके answers उन लोगों को मिलते हैं तो it will only increase their ability to manage migraine on their own
or maybe understand it better.
yes हाँ true exactly तो मैं एक काम करने वाली हूँ मैं जो भी questions हमें आए हैं मैं वो आपको पढ़ के सुनाती हूँ आपने बस इसके आंसर करने हैं फॉर द ऑडियंस टू नो द सॉल्यूशंस ओके सो द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज कि आई ऑफन गेट अ शार्प पेन ऑन वन साइड ऑफ माई हेड इज दैट अ माइग्रेन और समथिंग एल्स
So see, migraine is a type of headache, as I mentioned earlier also, but not every headache could be migraine. So with few definitions earlier, like unilateral headache could be a possible migraine, but along with headache, we need to have other symptoms also. For instance, the duration of the headache should be between 4 hours to 72 hours. Like it should not get better by itself before 4 hours. Similarly, it should also have nausea, vomiting, photophobia, phonophobia. The intensity of pain should be moderate to severe, that it is bothering you. Also, when you're doing any other physical activity, the pain is also aggravating. So these are some other, symptoms or signs that should be there along with the headache to actually consider it as a migraine. So just understanding headache as one-sided headache being migraine, no, it is not true.
Okay. Second question is, I get nausea, gas and dizziness with my headache. So does that mean it's a migraine?
So all these three symptoms, whether it is nausea, dizziness, and what did you say, vomiting?
Gas.
Gas. Yeah, these are all associated symptoms with migraine. So this could happen to migraine patients often. So, but yeah, it is like, say, migraine patient would have these symptoms. Not necessarily that these symptoms would lead to migraine.
Yeah. Okay. Third question is, I get severe headaches during my period. Could that be a migraine too?
So there is one type of migraine which is known as menstrual migraine.
Yeah.
I mentioned this earlier also, and many girls do experience that. So during menstruation, it is a trigger for them. So they experience sharp headaches with all the symptoms. So it's called menstrual migraine, and this is quite common.
Can migraine be connected to stomach problems or poor digestion?
See, when migraine initially, like if you go into the history of migraine, initially it was the reflexes of your gallbladder, your liver, your uterus, and so on, long back in history. But later on, it came into the department of neurology. But again, later, gastro word was again reintroduced. So I feel in today's scenario also, your migraine has a lot to do with your gut. And in Ayurveda, we are treating migraine very successfully by addressing your gut issues, reducing the inflammation, and correcting the homeostasis once again. So therefore, I totally feel migraine has a lot to do with the gastrointestinal tract and by restoring the imbalances and therefore making you migraine free.
What is homeostasis?
Homeostasis means balance, a state of balance in the body.
I notice my migraines gets worse when I skip meals or don't sleep well. Are these known triggers?
I think you're smiling because by now you have realized that ultimately these are the core pillars of one's health. So whether it is sleeping right, eating on time, sleeping on time, basically this is how you stay healthy. And if there is migraine, sleep is very, very important for every migraine patient. So sometimes sleeping less would trigger a migraine.
Yes.
It would get that attack. Similarly, when we are staying empty stomach for a long time or skipping meals for a long time, we have gases distension, we have gastric reflux, which sometimes may trigger migraine attacks. So therefore, sleeping on time and having complete sleep is very important for every migraine patient. And in the similar lines also, you need to have proper meals like intermittent eating with a scheduled plan.
हम्म थोड़ा सा इस पे और डिटेल में आप बताएंगे कि इंटरमिटेंट मील्स लाइक
So basically, what I prescribe to my patients would be 3 big meals like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and 2 small snacks between your main meals, like between your breakfast and lunch, and 1 meal between your lunch and dinner, which could be a seasonal fruit sometimes, or some, nuts in the evening, something of that sort. But basically, 3 major meals and 2 snacks.
Okay, and any specific thing to keep in mind while we choose the snacks? Like, for example, what kind of fruits? Should they be vitamin C rich
I
fruits?
think it should just be focused on what is available in a particular season and also in your region. Supposedly today I am here in Dehradun, and the only fruit available these days in abundance is the stone fruits from the mountains, which is plums, cherries, and apricots, and also mangoes. So I would just have that. So just go by the season, whatever is available for you. But nowadays, since in cities and through various mediums, we have everything available around the year. Even in January, if you're craving for a mango, you might get it. But I think what is growing around you, what is in the season, what you have grown up eating as per the season, that is what you should be consuming.
This is an additional question, like from my end. Like people shift cities due to their jobs or due to any other decisions in their lives, and because of that, they might not get the same food that they have grown up eating. The cuisine gets changed. Now, how do I manage my migraine along with
So what is local there, whatever is
Wherever
local
we
there,
are.
yeah, wherever we are, we have to adapt.
right?
And we need to stay true to our roots also in terms of the food that we might be making at home, and also taking care of the essential components of your food in terms of keeping your protein intake right, keeping your carbohydrate in place, and similarly the oil that you have been eating all your life. Like in Bengal, we eat mostly mustard oil. So wherever you go, you can always consume your mustard oil, right? So it would travel with you.
Is it true that migraine can actually get triggered by small things like coffee, cheese, or skipping meals? Skipping meals तो हमने discuss कर लिया, but like small things like coffee or cheese.
I think it is different for everybody. I think it's very personalized, and in some cases, for instance, just an air conditioner could trigger migraine. Some people who have sinusitis migraine, they sit under the fan directly. If they are sitting from the air conditioner, they might have headache. Similarly, sun could also trigger. If they're going out in the sun, they might develop headache, and that could actually worsen into a migraine. And many people have actually mentioned that cheese and coffee, even chocolate for that matter, do trigger migraine. Yeah.
You had mentioned once na कि dark chocolate actually helps in
Few cases again. So it is sometimes a triggering factor, and in some cases it is a relieving factor.
Does fasting make migraine worse?
Yes, it does make it worse because, again, as I mentioned, skipping off meal for a long time, staying empty stomach for a long time does worsen migraine in many, many cases. So usually I have heard people saying if there's an important fast that they have to do, like in North India, a lot of women do Karwa Chauth. So they say जिस दिन migraine होता, जिस दिन करवा चौथ होता है, we definitely have migraine. So that day when we open our fast in the night, we have a lot of vomiting, severe pain. We're not able to eat anything. So they have mentioned this to me. Also, this is a common thing that I've always noticed people telling me that with fasting, the migraine will always get triggered.
But what can be a solution for this? Because fasting is a part of our culture also. In every culture I've seen.
I think the way to restore is first, get the inflammation settled in your system. What we are not doing these days is we don't correct our overall habits. And then one day randomly we just stop eating. So we are very dehydrated that day. We are not nourished enough. So that might trigger pains, etc. But I would say if somebody wants to practice fasting, which is very good for your health, but again, fasting has rules. A healthy body should fast.
Right.
Yeah. And also if you want to start fasting, it should be gradually. So maybe you can increase your fasting window from maybe 8 hour to 10 hour to 12 hour to 14 hour, but not suddenly randomly that, okay, today onwards I'm fasting, or today randomly I'm doing intermittent fasting, or something of that sort. I think these are habits that one needs to inculcate, and with time they can practice it, and only if it is working for you. It is not that if it is working for me, it might work for you. So, everybody is very different, every body type is very different, and our habits are very different.
So for fasting also we need to prepare our body first.
Yes. Nirjal fasting is when you're not even having any water. Then it could be falahar also, where you are having fruits, you're having dairy, or you are having things which are not cereal. Like you can have amaranth, you could have something like samaka chawal, makhana, sabudana, and things like that. So some people do like that. So if somebody who has migraine and they want to do a particular fast, I tell them to maybe do a falahari fast. They could have things in 3 hours, which could be, maybe they can start their morning with a sabudana khichdi, little chena or paneer. 11 o'clock, maybe they could have a fruit. In the daytime, they could have samaka chawal, little dahi or makhana. Again, 4 o'clock, they could have some fruit or lemon water, something of that sort, whatever is regional fruit. And in the evening, they could have maybe a buckwheat roti with lauki, tori. And like that, they could plan it. So for migraine patient, usually falahari fast works better than going absolutely off food for that day.
Are there any rules to opening the fast also that you would want to share?
I think the best way to open your fast would be have water first, at least half a liter of water, and then maybe have a fruit like khajur or something which is a little denser. And then after some time, you could have your meal, whatever the lighter meal to have. I think what we do generally wrong with fasting is the moment we are not, the moment we open the fast, we would end up eating puri, kachori, something really heavy. And our system is not able to take it. I think first have something like a khajur or some maybe dry fruits. And then maybe after a while, you could have your main meal. But again, deep fried, I would not recommend.
What types of foods should people with migraine avoid?
I think people should avoid things which are extremely spicy, deep fried, reheated at times, heavily processed, a lot of sugar, refined food, all of that. And we all know that because these are the foods which are inflammatory in nature. So that is something I would not recommend people to eat. I would always recommend them to eat something which is simpler on your gut, simpler to break down and absorb. So that is something I would always advise to my patients.
Could you just elaborate on what could be the foods? Like how do I have simple foods?
See, simple khana could be, if you are a vegetarian, it could be dal, chawal, paneer, tofu, soya nuggets, like normal ghar ka khana with green vegetables in place, salads in place, dahi in place, like all of that. And also, I tell my patients to have a portion of protein in everything. For instance, if you're having your poha in the morning, I would ask them to add a little paneer to it, or a little tofu along with it, or maybe if you want to add eggs along with it as a side, you could do that. Or hunkered, because you need protein in your meals, or maybe some sprouts by the side. Then around 11 o'clock, I ask them to have fruits or chach. Or lunch would be usually dal rice. I always ask them to double the portion of the dal, thicker dal, because dal is generally more water, less dal. And dal also has a high carbohydrate as a content in it. So I would ask them to add little protein there, maybe some paneer ka bhuji or roasted piece of tofu, or some heavy dal like lobia, rajma, chole, whatsoever. And then apart from that, curd. And then 5 o'clock, it's usually chana murmura, makhana, bil sharbat, whatever is in the season and whatever you feel like eating. Sometimes it is also sweet potato, like baked sweet potato or boiled sweet potato. And in the night for dinner, early dinner by 7:30, which could be very similar to your lunch, and also a little lesser in quantity compared to your lunch. So this is something we all generally do, and we all have grown up eating like this. So this is no rocket science. That's something that I have to tell in a very unique way. These days, because you're talking in terms of labels or some anti-inflammatory diet or Falana diet, or there's nothing fancy in it. So we are looking for options that people have to tell us what should we eat. I think we never asked, see, Indian food also, if done properly, is quite healthy. But again, the variation that we have made of food today is quite, it's very different from what we have grown up eating. So everything has a lot of oil, everything has a lot of masalas, everything has a lot of premix paste, etc. So the concept of eating simple khana, it doesn't exist. And also if you're a meat eater, so always, could add meat every alternate day or however you feel comfortable with. So that your protein quotient is at rest. Yeah.
Right. Uh, Off topic, but is a bowl of dal enough protein for my lunch?
Uh, I don't think so. But you would also, firstly, like it depends on the requirement that your body has. And I feel if throughout the day, if you're eating right, I think it is also about the absorption of protein in your system, how it is breaking down, how you're absorbing it. So all of that matters. So I would say, like, if you're eating properly, like if you're having 2-3 eggs in the morning and in the afternoon having 1 to 2 cup of dal, I think that should be enough for you. Unless until you are doing heavy weight training or you're actually working on yourself where your demand is more. So you might have to actually incorporate more things for your diet. But 0.8 gram per kg body weight is what we need, on an average. That is the recommendation by the government in terms of the guidelines of the food, etc. But then if you're eating right, with every meal, if you have a portion of protein, I think that should be fine because this is more doable and sustainable. And if you could actually count your food, check the values and everything, nothing beats that.
Yeah.
But on a daily basis, if the basics are met, I think that works equally fine.
Does having fibrous food help in avoiding migraine?
I think fiber has a very important role to play in each one's life. First, it is very, very essential for our gut because it helps us push out all the toxins from the body.
Yeah.
One problem that migraine patients generally have is, they are often constipated. They say, I don't have a good bowel movement. So first thing is, if you have good bowel movement, half of your problems are solved. So fiber is very important for you. And that is one reason why I would recommend that you should always have a lot of fiber. Like a lot of vegetables are important for you. But also what is wrong is sometimes people make only the vegetables their food. So, like your food should have everything. It should have your protein also, it should have your dal also, it should have your rice also, and your sabji also. It just cannot be sabji. So it is always a balanced meal. Yeah.
So like a no carb diet is not recommended
Not
for
at
a
all.
migraine.
Not at all. I think you can't say no to anything. You have to have everything. That is why these are different food groups. You can't say, okay, I'm off carb. I can't say I'm off fat. For girls especially, I see a lot of women, they are saying, oh, I'm not taking any kind of fat. But that is very, very important for you because your vitamin A, D, E, and K, they are fat-soluble vitamins. And they are very, very important for you, for your hormonal health, for your skin, for your hair, for your gut, for immunity, for everything it is very important. And if we think that, oh, we are not having any fat, or I can just take a shot, I can take a vitamin D shot, I can pop in some pill, it doesn't work like that. So no matter how much fortification you do in terms of supplementation or something, but unless and until your body is able to absorb it, everything goes into waste. So for vitamins to get absorbed, you need to give them that medium. So for fats also, it's always recommended to have healthy fats. It could be your fat coming from your seeds, your nuts, your maybe ghee, your oils, maybe avocados today, whatever is local and whatever you've grown up eating. So, and also sometimes I feel there could be certain things from the West that you might like. So there's no harm actually, adopting something which is good and you may like, but always keep a balance. I won't say this is bad or this is good. Only what we are doing is correct for us. Wherever you feel comfortable, wherever you think this is something or a routine you could practice in a very sustainable way, I think one should shift to that. For instance, like eating an egg is very good, but some people might not eat eggs. So, it depends. Whatever works for you, you should do that at a very consistent level.
I've heard migraine has no real cure. Is that true or just a myth?
I think migraine, firstly, you need to know the cause and then obviously you can cure it. So as of now, there are multiple hypotheses, theories around what is causing migraine. There is various theories around it. But what we have seen over the years with people coming to us, it's a trigger, so inflammation in your system. We see people having similar symptoms. We screen the patients, and then once we are able to screen them and identify a particular pattern, we have been curing it very successfully. So it is a combination of your khana, your diet, then your lifestyle, and then medication. and I've seen migraine disappearing completely from its root cause. But again, it is a disease, it's a lifestyle disease. And you need to maintain that. You need to correct that to get rid of it. And also, migraine is something like genetic. If a mother has migraine, the kid could also have migraine, and there are 50% chances. And if both the parents have migraine, there are 75% chances that the kid would also have migraine. So basically, it's the habits that are running in the family. It is the way we all have been living. So somewhere something has to be corrected to get free of migraine or to eradicate migraine.
Very active steps need to be taken for
Yes,
this.
and consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because as of now, people think migraine hai, sir dard hai, we can just pop in a pill. But we are not trying to fix the problem.
Yeah. It's just pain management.
It's
as
just pain
well.
management. And also there are long-term prophylaxis at time, 2 years, 3 years, 6 months. People are on a particular set of medicines, which is like a preventive treatment. But also I have seen people moving from one prophylaxis to the other. It might, suppress the symptoms for a while, or maybe, give you lesser headaches, but there are rebounds around it. It does come back. Also, in certain cases, migraine settles by itself with age, like post 45, 50, migraine generally tapers down and people feel better. So these are those things. So one way is that you live with migraine for your entire life and then wait for your old age to come and they say, okay, finally I'll be migraine free. So that is one reason, one way of doing it. Yeah.
If someone has had migraine for 10 to 15 years, can that be treated successfully?
So my I would say my most significant case would be a migraine case who had migraine for 35 years and today off painkiller, off medicine, nothing. So I think migraine can be cured. Yeah.
3 things that person adapted.
I think first thing was corrected their routine in terms of their food pattern. Got completely off tea, coffee because they were having too much of it. And thirdly was correcting the sleep schedule. So these 3 things, and apart from that, of course, medicines. Because beyond a point, just correcting your diet and lifestyle doesn't help. You need medical intervention, you need medicines, and which is for a while. It is not a lifelong treatment for you.
A follow-up question for this only, medical intervention with Ayurveda.
Yeah, because I practice Ayurveda, so I would prescribe my medicines. So,
Yes.
which is a standardized protocol, which is a combination of 4 medicines, which is usually Narikal Lavarna, Numax, or Sonadivati, and Godanti Mission. Yeah.
If someone is already taking medicines, do you ask them to stop all their medicines immediately, or do you allow modern medicine and Ayurveda to go together in their medication?
So, as I mentioned, Devangi, migraine could be of various types. One could be a refractory migraine, where all the prophylaxis has failed and people are on certain medications. And tapering it off suddenly could be a problem for the patient because they are hooked to it, right? In those cases, we get people to Padav and they're admitted with us, and gradually we taper them off, depending on case to case and what kind of medication they're on. Sometimes they're on nothing but antidepressants and some pain management and things that make them sleep better. So that is to be tapered off. And sometimes people are on SOS medicines in terms of pain, they have to take medicine. Again, there are various levels of painkiller they might be taking. So sometimes it could be a normal non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medicine, or sometimes it could be a triptan or something of that sort. So depending on the kind of medicine one is taking, we have to decide how to actually start treating them. But majorly, I stop all medications when we are treating patients with our treatment protocol because I really don't know what kind of interaction there would be.
Yeah.
So usually it is one treatment at a time, and if at all there's unbearable pain or there's very severe pain, in those cases, we might let them take painkiller or for pain management because it is a process. So somebody who's taking 20 to 30 painkillers in a month cannot expect to get better on day 1 or 5 of the treatment. It is a journey. So how we do the follow-ups is like if today on day 0 of the treatment, I have noted down that this patient is taking 30 painkillers. After 30 days, if I'm able to see, okay, 30 painkillers has come down to 15 painkillers. So we see there's an improvement with the frequency or the intensity. That is why the patient has not taken any painkiller further. And by the end of 120 days, we see 30 painkillers actually go to at least 2 painkillers or maybe just 1 painkiller. And in many cases, there are none. So this is how the transition happens. Similarly, how we observe the improvement in the pain score is we do a visual analog scale evaluation. Supposedly, like we can't measure the intensity of headache. So, मान लो that you have migraine. So if I'll ask you, 0 is no pain, 10 is the worst possible pain. and you'll be like, okay, 10 is something when I don't want to do anything. I just want to be in a dark room. I feel like throwing up. I don't want to do any work. I hate light. I can't work. I can't go out. I don't like noise. All these symptoms are there. So my pain is 10. Nothing worse can be there. Above 10, nothing. So you'll put 10. This is again on day 0. After 30 days, you said, yeah, headache happened, it was there. But this time, I think I was not bothered with the light. I was still okay with the light on. But I didn't throw up also, but I had headache. So I did some cold pack, I did something. It was manageable, but still it was very severe. But I would put it on 7, not 10. So we see by the end of 4 months of treatment, from 10, it comes to 2, 3, and sometimes 0. So again, it would depend how good the patient had, complied to the protocol. Because ultimately, as I always say, it is the effort that you're also putting in. Because I can always guide you, I can always tell you, but if you're not executing it right, because it is a process of healing. And that will happen only when there is consistent effort. With everything, like, 10 days you're all right, 11th day you do whatever you want to do. Today we have a cheat day suddenly. Your body doesn't know that's a cheat day.
Yeah, the body doesn't know that it's a cheat day. Right. We'll have a different conversation about nutrition for people working out and that. You have already answered this, but again, I'm just because this is a question asked by someone. So, how long does Ayurvedic treatment usually take to show results for migraine? So, minimum to maximum.
I think it starts as early as, again, it would depend. If somebody has like only 2 attacks in a month, then, we can only make a judgment after a month's time, like what has been the improvement. But you see a lot of symptoms getting improved. Your fatigue gets better, your bloating gets better, your reflux gets better. I see massive improvement in the menstrual cycles also, because it's a disease mostly of the women. Men are also, affected. I'm not saying men don't have migraine, but mostly women are the patients who come to me. So they have a lot of other symptoms improving with the treatment. But people who have refractory migraines or really bad migraines, with a week's time or 10 days' time, they're able to say, okay, we are able to survive without a painkiller. We feel better. We are sleeping better. But initially, they get very restless because they're so dependent on painkillers. And I think there's a lot of work they're supposed to do. And it's a support system that they need to create.
Yeah.
Mm.
And like standard protocol wise, as you said, 4 months is your time.
4 to 9 months. In classical migraine, which doesn't have a very severe history, 4 months is the duration of the treatment. But when it is a chronic migraine or refractory migraine, the treatment may extend till 9 months.
Do you ask your patients to follow a specific routine or lifestyle changes along with the medicines?
I think you know the answer by now. And everybody who's been listening to me,
yes.
I think yes. And I think for anything, just not health, but for anything else, you need to have a routine. You need to have a discipline. You need to follow a particular, system to actually stay relevant. Because you can't do things on an ad hoc basis. You can't do things as per your wish because there are rules. And the rules that work for you, for your health, for your gut, for your system collectively. So I think that is the need. And with that only, you can actually achieve anything you want.
Correct. Last question. Are there any home remedies or natural oils in Ayurveda that give quick relief from migraine?
See, the home remedies would be, in many patients, they say like applying a cold pack really helps them. Many people tell me that when they are drinking something warm, it helps them. Small remedies like maybe sipping in some chamomile tea at bedtime, making them sleep better, applying some rosemary oil, burning some rosemary, small things, lavender, etc. It can help. So sometimes it could be a placebo, sometimes it really helps. Some pressure points, things like there are many things people do, and it is different for each one of us. So I think I wouldn't be the right person to actually tell you what is one home remedy that will help you out. But I think whatever I recommend usually is to keep sipping hot water intermittently when you have headache and to apply cold pack.
Shikha ji, thank you so much for answering all these questions that our audience had. I'm sure कि आपकी सुन के एटलीस्ट हमें ये रियलाइज हर एपिसोड में होता ही है कि भाई सब कुछ हमारे कंट्रोल में है, हमारी हेल्थ हमारे कंट्रोल में. आई होप दैट द ऑडियंस लर्न्स फ्रॉम दिस सेशन एंड स्टार्ट्स इम्बाइबिंग. आप जो छोटे छोटे नुस्खे बता रहे हो, लॉन्ग टर्म नुस्खे बता रहे हो, वो सारे हम इम्बाइब करने लगे. थैंक यू फॉर योर टाइम फॉर
Thank you,
दिस
Devani.
कॉन्वर्सेशन.
Pleasure meeting you as always. Thank you.